How's it going, everybody? Thank you very much. I always appreciate you. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr., and welcome to my non-spoiler review for my most anticipated film of 2025 from Warner Brothers Pictures and writer-director James Gunn, Superman, rated PG-13 after four Christopher Reeves films, the 2006 reboot/remake from Bryan Singer, and 2013's Man of Steel from Zack Snyder. We now have a seventh standalone live action Superman film from James Gunn and Warner Brothers. And how is it? There are a lot of things going on in this movie. There are a lot of characters. For the most part, the movie does a good job at balancing out everybody so that everybody gets a moment. But it does feel a bit overstuffed at times, and because of that, the movie does feel a tad messy. It can be a bit all over the place in terms of the pacing. I think Superman fans will be pleased to see that there are plenty of heroic moments with our main character throughout this movie, making sure that little kids are safe from danger and making sure that little animals don't get squished to death in the middle of a big fight with a kaiju, which is a pretty awesome and epic action sequence, by the way. But overall, they do a great job at making sure that you understand where Superman is coming from, why he does what he does, and that's going to please a lot of people. Rachel Brosnahan is our Lois Lane, and she does a very good job in the movie as the part. I really like her chemistry with her co-star David Corenswet. I think the two of them do make a very good couple in the movie as Clark and Lois, and she does a great job in depicting the character of Lois Lane. It's one of my favorite interpretations so far, to be honest, and I also really dig Nicolas Hoult as Lex Luthor. As our main antagonist going up against our main protagonist, Superman, Nicolas Hoult as Lex Luthor doesn't feel all that menacing, but I don't think that's his fault as an actor. Personally, I never thought that Lex Luthor was all that menacing or threatening to begin with, but in terms of conveying the evil genius that is the character of Lex Luthor, I think Nicolas Hoult did a fantastic job, and he did a good job at making me feel like I understand where he's coming from in terms of his hatred against Superman. Now I gotta give a little love to the MVP of this movie, our CG mascot, Krypto, who I gotta admit, when I saw the trailer for this movie, I wasn't so sure if Krypto the dog was gonna work for me. But he really made this movie feel, well, a lot of things in this movie made this feel like just another episode of like watching a animated DC cartoon on Saturday morning back in the day. Dog lovers are really gonna eat up all the Krypto stuff. The CG with the dog looks pretty good most of the time, and I think a lot of the scenes with Superman and Krypto are really gonna add to a lot of the heart of the movie. I also want to add that I really dig the supporting cast of characters in this movie. They picked a great Jimmy Olsen with Skylar Gisondo, and they give him a little side story in this movie. It's pretty cool to see Jimmy Olsen get a bit more screen time than he usually does in a Superman movie. I appreciate that. You also have the Justice, well, they call them the Justice Gang in this movie. We all know their real name. But yeah, in this movie, you also got Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner slash Green Lantern. You have Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific, who's definitely a scene stealer. You also have Isabella Merced, who played Dora the Explorer in the Dora movie. She does a very good job in this movie as Hawk Girl. You also have Pruitt Taylor Vince as our Jonathan Kent. As Martha Kent, you have Neva Howell. As the character of Metamorpho, you have Anthony Kerrigan, and as Perry White, you have Wendell Pierce. Now, when it comes to David Corenswet as Superman, I think he is a very good Superman. I think he looks the part, I think he can act the part, but because of the way they write the character in this movie, at times he doesn't feel like Superman to me. He feels more like Superboy, or he feels like Shazam at times with the kind of dialogue they give him. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Christopher Reeve is still the Superman. He is the template. He is the high standard. I loved Henry Cavill's version. I think there is a lot of potential for David Corenswet's Superman, especially in a sequel where he could feel a bit more settled into the part. In this first movie, he feels like he's just barely finding his footing as the character, as in the story, Superman is basically trying to find his footing in the world that he lives in. And so it kind of meshes well, his portrayal and that version of the character. But the suit, I'm not a big fan of the suit. Too many lines, too much going on, a little too busy for me. And I think it could have been fitted a little better to show his physique and the muscles underneath. In some shots, it looked better than others, and others looked a little baggy. But overall, it was okay. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. And that kind of sums up my feelings about this movie overall in a nutshell. Walking out of the theater, I liked it, but I didn't love it. When I walked out of Man of Steel in 2013, coming out of that theater, I walked out loving it. I think some people like me are going to be a bit on the fence about some things when it comes to narrative and plot and story and what characters do and what you buy into in terms of certain things that they do on the normal or what they normally wouldn't do. And seeing Lois Lane flying a spaceship in this movie just didn't work for me. They try to make a very simple explanation with very lazy writing to how she can fly this spaceship, which just doesn't cut it. So ultimately, there are some flaws with the movie. There are some moments of shaky writing and moments where I felt like a line of dialogue could have been taken out, or moments where I felt like the humor undercut a moment that could have been way more effective. But in the end, this is a very good, very fun, and entertaining, and even more important, joyful Superman movie. It captures the spirit, captures the vibe, and you really do understand where the character is coming from and why he does what he does. I really enjoy the heart of the movie, which is the Superman relationship between the Kents. In the end, you really understand why he's good. It's really because of them and how they instilled their goodness into him and that sense of humanity and decency and kindness. There was one sequence where the CGI and visual effects looked a little too video gamey, but for the most part, the CGI in the movie is really good and the music in the movie is really good, but I feel like it could have been a lot better because the best moments are really when they utilize a bit of the John Williams score in their own way, in their own rendition. But that was really what was the best part of the music. People are going to love Krypto, the kids are going to love him, fans are going to enjoy Nathan Fillion as this jerkish version of a Green Lantern, Guy Gardner. And I'm really glad to see online that a lot of people are taking to Mr. Terrific, played by Edie Gathegi, who I really enjoyed in X-Men First Class as that guy that could absorb people's powers and stuff. I didn't love everything about it, but I liked it. It was fun, it was enjoyable, it was a good movie overall. I give it 3 stars, and it's a good start to a new cinematic DC universe. Thank you all very much for hanging out with me for this review of Superman. And for those of you that know this channel, you know I'm into classic movies, but if I watch a new movie, I will talk about it. So look out for a new movie review every now and then, but for the most part, this is a channel that's dedicated to classic movies. So look out for my next classic movie review. And please don't forget to comment, share, like. It always helps out. If you're into movies, if you're into the classics, if you're into this kind of thing, and you're unsubscribed, subscribe and look out for my next one coming out very soon. Until then, everybody take care of each other. Till next time, peace out and God bless.